Sticuli Domagi, and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Minute. My name is Alex Robinson.
Hey, my name's Andy Robinson.
Together we are the Godfather Minute Brothers. How are you doing today, Andy?
I'm doing great, Alex. How are you?
Good.
Should we describe the situation here?
Sure, I guess we can. This is our first post-pandemic recording. And
well, not post-pandemic.
Oh, well, mid-pandemic. This is the first time since the pandemic has started. Mm-hmm. And so we burned through our cushion and we're like, hey, we got to record. And so Andy has set up in the recording studio a elaborate system of curtains and sheets so where you cannot see each other. Mm-hmm. And we're probably about 20 feet away from each other.
I really just wanted an excuse to podcast in the nude.
In the nude.
Yeah, there's not even a pandemic, Alex. This is all a big hoax just so I could get away with hanging sheets up in our studio so I could podcast in the nude. What do you think?
Dude, all you had to do, I can't believe you shut down the whole world's economy just for that. You could have just told me. I would have just faced the other direction.
Oh, you're cool with it?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's tear down the sheets.
All right.
Whoa! Down the sheets.
But anyway, so if it sounds a little odd, that's why, because we cannot see each other at all. And
this is the first time we are recording where we can't see each other, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
How do I even know it's you on the other side of that sheet? Prove it.
You just take my word for it.
Tell me
word good enough for you?
Tell me something only Alex Robinson would know.
Let's see. Only Alex Robinson would know.
Yeah, that even I don't know.
Okay. When I was in high school on a camping trip one time, I murdered someone. Does that prove it to you?
It was a bad question because I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll take your word for it.
You have an alibi for where you were at that time.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what do you say we talk about minute 142 then?
Let's do it.
Minute 142.
Alex, repite e minuto. Numero 142. 42.
Wow, it almost sounds like quarantine.
Well, you know what? Have we talked about this yet?
I don't know.
Our Latin scholar in New York, Peter Carucci, I think he's the one who told me that quarantine comes from the Latin 40. Because that's how long, I don't remember what era this was or what plague was happening at the time, but that's how long they quarantined people for.
Oh, interesting.
And so it became quarantine, like a 40.
Oh,
yeah.
That is interesting.
Alex, can I say that your Italian sounds better probably because you're not visually distracted by my hand signals flailing? You nailed the number perfectly.
Wow, that's crazy. We should do more from behind a sheet.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happens in minute 142, just to refresh our listeners. Having arrived in Las Vegas, Mikey proceeds to throw a wet blanket on poor Fredo's cool party. He tells Fredo he's here on business and he's tired and to ditch the girls and even the band.
Even the band.
While Fredo clears the room, Mikey sits down to talk with famous movie star Johnny Fontaine about how proud he is of him. Mm-hmm. Johnny! Mm-hmm. I learned something interesting about two interesting factoids about Johnny the Rocket Fontaine.
The character?
Yes.
Lay him on me.
Number one, this is from the Godfather wiki, Wikipedia. He was a grand marshal in a Columbus Day parade, which I guess shouldn't be too surprising, seeing as how he's an Italian-American of some prominence. But did you know he also played Columbus in a blockbuster movie version?
Johnny Fontaine.
Johnny Fontaine.
Oh, funny. No, did not know.
That movie made him a big star. So it's weird. I can't picture him playing Columbus.
No.
Do you think it was a musical?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I mean, he seems like a real he'd play refined characters.
Uh-huh. You don't think Johnny could play street? Him and Nino came up through the streets.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
His voice is weak. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I guess he's always laying on his charm, and he's well dressed.
Yeah.
Schmoozing a lot.
Got that olive oil voice.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right. You what you're saying is you need to see a screen test.
Yeah. And I'm not going to give him no screen test for that film. Yeah. he ain't no Italian explorer.
He's no circumnavigator.
I ain't no King Ferdinand.
Conquering lessons, slavery lessons, ship lessons.
We gave him the best astrolabe training that the film production studio could afford.
And I've used astrolabes all over the world, everywhere from the West Indies to the Northwest Passage.
Mr. Waltz, we have word that your South American explorers have recently been caught skimming off of the rum triangular trade.
It's starting to get to Hyman wrong.
I know. Wait a minute, are you trying to muscle me?
So,
that'd be funny if Don Corleone back in the 1500s had a hold on the triangular trade shipping unions, the Dutch East India Company.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was so much graft in that whole system, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Back then, because there was very little accountability.
Yeah. I don't even know if it would count as graft because it was basically just how things were done. You know what I mean? It's not like, they were cheating. It's not like they were like breaking the rules. It was just the way the rules were. That's he who has the gold makes the rules. You ever hear that one? That's my interpretation of the golden rule.
Yeah.
So
what else do you got? There's some kind of cool stuff here.
Well, so Mikey says get rid of the girls and get rid of the band.
Yeah.
And poor Fredo.
Well, in the previous minute,
yeah,
Mikey said get rid of the girls.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now and then in this minute he says, "Oh, and get rid of the band too." I was that an afterthought? Did he want to keep the band, and then he said, "Did he think better of it?" And then asked Fredo to dismiss them too?
I think first he said like get rid of the girls, kind of as a way of telling Fredo I'm not in the mood for a party. And then once he saw that Fredo was like, okay, I'll get rid of the girls, and then he's like, I gotta tell Fredo to get rid of the band too, because otherwise he won't get rid of the band.
He won't get it.
It was too bad they weren't there for the whole time that Mo Green they were doing their negotiation. They could have the music feel like all dramatic and
that would have been they're the musical backup band for all the scenes. It's all was my credit not good enough to buy up? It's all fast jazz, maybe. They keep changing it. Oh, it starts all kind of fun because Mo Green comes in and says, "Hey, the party started, Mikey. Let's get chips for everyone on the house." Oh, that would be great to hear Pink Floyd's Money on that upright bass. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I thought you weren't a fan of Money.
I don't think it's the strongest song on Dark Side of the Moon, but you can't deny that that's an amazing riff.
Yeah,
Classic.
that's true.
Yeah. You were talking about the song Money, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the abstract concept.
Huge fan of the other Money. Huge fan.
That's what you want.
That's me and Connie. Because we need money.
So this got me thinking of other scenes where, because music plays a big part in the Godfather saga, and like so here Fredo's like music always. There's two instances I can think of where music is used to humiliate somebody. Which is this one, because he's like, get rid of the band, and so Fredo's like he has to get rid of his band, and then of course Frankie Five Angels the band makes fun of him in front of the whole party and everything. So
what about Mama? Remember, she said no, she didn't want to sing.
Oh,
they bullied her into singing.
Yeah, and she lost her family.
No, she could never lose her family.
I will have to keep our eyes open for because obviously GF3 also the finale is at an opera, but we'll have to see if there's other music moments.
Yeah.
And of course, Anthony wants to be a opera singer.
Yeah.
So,
wow, never thought of it that way.
And Johnny's voice is weak.
Yeah, it plays a big part. He's transitioning from singing to acting. Huh. Interesting.
So did Fredo really think Mikey would like this party? I feel so bad for him. Poor Fredo.
Yeah. He just can't seem to do anything right. I think he thought he'd like it. Yeah, that's why he set it up. Even in this minute, he says to Johnny, I don't know, Johnny. He's frustrated because he thought this would be what Mikey would want, which seems really strange.
Well, this is the first time Fredo's been hanging out with Mikey since he became the titular Godfather.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So maybe in the olden days, Mikey would have been more like, oh, damn, let's get these blondes going. You know what I mean? But now he's like, now I'm here on business.
Yeah.
He put aside childish things.
That's the only thing.
He's a widower now.
Yeah.
Well, he might be married again by this point.
Yeah, because Fredo was there when Mikey shot the Turk and McCluskey.
Yeah.
So he knows he took a big step up, and he was there. And he said goodbye to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess. Yeah.
Wait, he was there. I think he was there when he shot McCluskey.
In the restaurant?
No. I think he was he was still in New York at that point.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it wasn't until Don came home and was out of his coma. That's when Fredo in the room said, "Yeah, they're taking me to learn the casino business, Pop.
Yeah.
They're going to teach me how to throw parties. They're going to show me how to assess the client, evaluate what their tastes are, what they like, and then put on the perfect party for them, Pop. A lot of money in that.
A lot of money in the festivities.
He's the original party planner."
So this must have been quite a setback then for his first party to be dismissed out of hand by Mikey.
Yeah, definitely. So Mike at the very beginning of the minute says, "Fredo, I'm here on business and I leave tomorrow."
Yeah.
Have Alex, our fans want to know who you are.
Who is the real Alex Robinson?
Have you ever flown somewhere and had to turn right back around tomorrow? Have you ever had to be present somewhere and it was so important that you just went for one day and returned?
No. I can't think of any time where I've done that. I feel like I must have, but I can't. I did fly to Washington, D.C. and back in one day.
Oh,
So
for what purpose?
That was as close as I got.
For what purpose?
It's gonna crack. You're gonna laugh when you hear it. My wife is obsessed with airline miles and things. You know, she's like, oh, we have to get to this gold status and everything. And I think I was like so close to getting like gold status where I just needed to take like a short flight. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, I'm going to book you a flight. The shortest possible flight to get you the miles would be to fly to from New York to Washington, D.C. And then back. So I literally just spent a day. I went to the airport, got on the plane, flew to Washington, D.C., hung out at the D.C. airport like for 45 minutes, and then got back on a plane.
Oh,
again.
my gosh. I don't know what to think of that.
It actually wasn't so bad because I had no luggage with me. You know what I mean? I just had like my book and my, that's like a less than 2 hour flight.
Wow. So I guess you didn't even need really like a carry-on or anything, right?
No, I literally just had like, I was carrying my book and maybe, like my iPhone and,
Oh my gosh. Just your book and your ID, right?
They must have thought I was like going to blow the plane up or something. That shows up with I just booked a one-way round trip.
With a 45-minute layover in the same airport.
Yeah, in Washington, D.C.
No wonder you were flagged by Global Entry and they denied you.
Yeah, so...
oh, that's funny.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So what about you? Have you ever done that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, going to weddings, sometimes it's a quick turnaround, but I don't think I've ever gone somewhere for one day. I think my wife and I argue about this because she will travel really far and then be somewhere for a short period of time. She doesn't mind traveling.
Yeah.
I don't mind traveling, but I have a ratio. Mm-hmm. If I drive somewhere, I need to be at the location for a minimum of 2 times the amount of time it will take in transit. So if I'm driving someplace and it takes, let's say, 5 hours to get there and 5 hours back, that's 10 hours. I need at least 20 hours in that location. because I just don't want to spend my life in a car driving around.
All right. So how much is it? How much more do you need?
It's double.
Double.
Yeah.
So
flying, it's even more because of the airport, the hassle, and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, because obviously, you could be flying for 6 hours,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't want to say, yeah,
Someplace for 12 hours, no way.
Although, but according to your rule, then you would have to be there for 24 hours because if it's 6 hours one way and 6 hours the other way, that's
true.
12.
No, but I think even more. I think it's probably a 4-to-1 ratio for
4
flying.
to 1.
We haven't talked about it in a while. Yeah.
So if,
But anyway,
okay,
yeah. Does that make sense? The 4-to-1. So
Yeah.
let's just say from here to New York, it's 5 hours, and then back 5 hours. That's 10 hours. I would need at least 40 hours in New York, and we're talking minimum here.
now is that 40 hours waking? Because 40 hours is basically less than a weekend.
Yeah, it's not that long.
You'd fly out on a
Yeah,
Friday.
maybe it's
and you'd
longer.
be-
I haven't thought about the ratios in a while, but
Yeah.
there is a driving and a flying ratio.
Also,
it might be more than 4-to-1.
Keep in mind that when I think when Mikey's flying, it's probably a lot more arduous too.
Yeah.
Although, yeah,
Well, is it?
I don't know. It's a good question.
People
I
said
feel like it must be
flying-
slower at least.
But people say flying now is a lot harder. They cram you in there.
Right.
The
Okay.
service is not the same.
Maybe not harder, but longer because I don't,
Yeah.
So anyway,
You think
poor Mike.
that's why Tom Hagen was so pissed? Like, when am I going to California?
And he literally did just turn right around.
He did, yeah. And remember when he got back, they said, "Tom, how are you?" I'm okay. I'm okay. Did you sleep? I slept on the plane.
He really did go. He flew out like figure it had to be like 8 hours. Was there for
Yeah.
I guess, was he there overnight?
I don't think so.
Did he fly back
He goes
that
to
night?
the studio,
Yeah.
walks right to the studio, approaches Waltz later that evening, goes to dinner at his house,
Uh-huh.
and then gets kicked out and has Waltz's car drives him right to the airport. Sonny, you didn't take into consideration my travel ratios before booking this flight.
Maybe not now, but 10 hours from now.
Tom, you're a man who appreciates a well thought out travel ratio. So, do you have any of those kinds of limits on your trip? Well, clearly you don't. You're living in an airport and flying for miles. Was it worth it?
I don't know. I think I said when I got back, I was like, that was. I don't want to do that again. So I think nowadays they even do a thing where if you're close to getting to the gold status, they just say, "Hey, listen, do you want to just pay $50 to get to get you over the finish line?"
Nice.
Rather than
Yeah.
because nowadays with the green and everything, you're not supposed to fly on planes at all.
Yeah. Well, what she didn't tell you too when she booked that flight for you is it was New York to DC, but it had stops in Pittsburgh, Scranton, Binghamton,
Oh yeah, Charlotte,
Baltimore.
Miami.
Sure. So you're booking your iPhone. That's what you had. You really needed it for 8 days. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about Scram. Scram.
Yeah.
I love Fredo's use of the word scram.
Yeah.
Because if no one says it, he has the perfect 40s kind of reading of things. Mm-hmm. Johnny, I don't know. Scram. But I looked up the word scram. Where does this word come from?
Yeah.
And
I don't even have a guess.
well, the oldest, it's been around since 1928, and it means to move, to get going. And they are sure about the origin. It's either a shortening of scramble, or the German word "skrammen," which means graze. So theoretically, I guess farmers would say to their sheep, "Skrammen," and have them go out to eat their food.
Oh, it was getting
Go out
them
and
to
graze.
leave to go graze.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
So,
I thought it was people grazing takes a long time and is slow. So when people are grazing, you want to get them, you want to move them on.
No, I think
Skrammen? Is that it?
yes, SCHRAMMEN.
Skrammen.
Skrammen.
Mach schnell Skrammen.
So there you go.
Girls on the band, you must be scramming.
Do people still say, people just don't still say scram, do they?
I don't think so. And it seems like even back then it was always used as a command, and it was never, you couldn't use it in other verbal formats. Right? Like, hey, we scrammed.
I think you could say, yeah, I thought we'd scram out of there, something like that.
Okay.
It's hard to, you don't really often do the past tense, I
Yeah.
guess it's true. Scrammed, scrim,
Scram.
scrum.
Yeah, we're scramming. We're scramming. Relax.
That's what the band should have said.
Yeah. Alex, did you notice the piano player in this scene?
Is he the last guy to leave with the glasses?
Last guy, yeah. He looks just like Mo Green.
I was going to say, he's probably a double for Mo Green.
Now, so what's Bill Murray's brother?
Well, there's Brian Doyle Murray.
The guy who's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, Brian Doyle Murray is probably, there's another Murray brother, but I don't remember
So
what his name
Brian
is.
Doyle Murray is to Bill Murray as the piano player is to Mo Green.
So you think he's actually a blood relative?
There's just enough resemblance where you can see it, but just enough difference where you might not know it unless someone pointed it out to you.
So you're not saying it is Mo Green eavesdropping on the party?
I the more I think about it, I think it's someone who's related to him, like a cousin or someone.
Oh, it's like Joe Green,
Exactly.
clean Joe Green.
Mo doesn't even like when he wears glasses like Mo. He's like, come on, have your own look. I'm the one. I had vision. Have some vision.
Sometimes I gotta bust some heads around here. Everyone's biting my looks.
I caught him buying the same bifocals as me 2 at a time.
2 at a time. He's buying lenses 2 at a time. So I like the idea that it's actually someone hired because he looks like Mo Green.
Was that Mo's idea or Fredo's idea, or did Fredo do it so subconsciously?
You know what I think it is? I think were we discussing that Fredo was kind of doing dress rehearsals for this?
Yeah,
because they had the 2 doubles outside.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet this is the guy who he had playing Mo Green in the run throughs.
And he just and the original piano player was sick, so they said, "Oh, just cover on the piano."
And he was so excited. That's why he looks like so startled when Fredo's asking him to leave. He's like, but he almost like looks right at the camera. Like so anyway, yeah.
You do get the impression that Fredo is friends with him.
Uh-huh.
I think he even says his name.
I think Angelo.
Angelo,
He
yeah.
refers to someone as Angelo.
Yeah, I think that's him.
Well, he probably uses the same band. That must be a sweet gig to be Fredo's kind of like house band.
Oh yeah, the things you witness.
Oh, sure.
And they sounded pretty good in the background.
Yeah. He's the upright bass guy. Do you think so? The piano must have been in the room. Do you think the guy with the upright bass left the bass there, or did he? Does he bring it out with him?
Oh gosh, we'll see in the next minute. But I don't think he
suspense.
brings it with him. Maybe.
He put it in the case and everything. Should have during the whole scene with Mo Green, the guy putting his bass away in the back.
They're all waiting. Yeah, not sure. We'll have to remember to see that. Fredo says to Mikey that Mo said to call him when the party gets started. When the party started.
The potty started.
Yeah. He said to call him when the party started. And he said to call him when the party started.
Yeah.
So when would that have been? What would have had to have taken place to cue Fredo to call Mo Green?
I think once Mikey got there and Mike said, "Oh, Fredo, this is great. You're my big brother. This is incredible." And then he once Mikey relaxed and maybe had a drink and started visibly relaxed, I think then he would say, "Okay, Mikey's settled. I'm going to call Mo Green up."
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to use his own judgment.
Or yeah, maybe he would clear it with him. He'd say, "Sounds like Mikey. What do you think? Should I get Mo up here?" Because I'm sure he thought Fredo was gonna I'm sure he thought Mikey was gonna confide in him and tell him what the plan is, and when clearly he's caught off guard when he doesn't know anything about trying to buy Mo out at this point.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering if there were certain things that had to take place that maybe Fredo had written on his hand, like someone falls or someone passes out. someone.
That's when the party started.
Yeah, that's when the party is like, that's when the party really gets started. Called Don't Waste Mo's Time until things are really happening.
I don't want to be at that party unless 3 guys are passed out.
Yeah, someone shotguns a beer.
That's when you say, hey, Mo, you want to come, we're having a party. You want to come up? He's like, how many guys are passed out right now? 2? Call me when it's 4.
Yeah. Fredo calls him later. Hey, Mo, Al Neary's wearing the lampshade. That's your cue. Come on up.
Yeah, I guess that would be the big signal, as if someone put a lampshade on their head.
Or if Tom had a beer.
Yeah.
Because he's so square. You know the party started when Nero Consigliere drinks on the job.
Why is he passed out?
Tom, what are you drinking? I'm German Irish. Okay, Bailey's, it is.
Yeah, because you certainly didn't want. So let me ask you a question: is Mo Green dissing Mikey by not being there?
I think so.
You think it's a sign of like him being like, well, I'm not going to wait around for Michael Corleone. I got a business to run.
Yeah, I think so. I think Mo Green is somewhat caught off guard. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about it in later minutes.
Yeah.
The way Mo Green responds.
Yeah.
But I think it is, maybe it's a little of both. I want to assume the best intent from Mo Green.
So do you think Fredo paid the ladies for their time? Or do they work for him already? So this is kind of like, they were expected to do this because it's like, extra hours. Like they work at the brothel that he runs.
I think they get a monthly stipend and they're expected to go to parties and entertain guests.
Monthly?
So,
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably a core group. I have no basis for that, but I can see the operation running that way. They don't want to do an hourly thing. That's too much to manage. Right?
I think maybe weekly. Monthly seems like too much of a commitment for a prostitute to stick around.
Yeah. Do you think Fredo... Whoa. Did you say prostitute?
I did.
Well, okay. I thought they were nice girls. We're talking about Fredo's angels here.
Exactly.
You know how soon Mikey's going to sit down with Johnny Fontaine and show him contracts. You can see Fredo doing that with Fredo's angels earlier. Like, all right, I've got some contracts. You can bring good business to the hotel. It's a weekly contract.
It's a standard contract.
So something I noticed with Fredo at the end of the minute, Alex. Now, I want to preface what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
I think you know this. I was a high school vice principal for 15 years.
Sheesh.
And so I was busting punks all the time with drugs, hooliganism, all kinds of stuff. Fredo, and so I've received special training on how to identify if someone is under the influence of different drugs too. Fredo is moving his mouth as if he has recently done cocaine.
Huh.
Did you notice that? He's kind of like licking his lips and moving his lips. I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like
smacking.
maybe grinding, but kind of smacking his lips.
Oh, I did not notice that. That's
At first,
funny.
I thought it was due to frustration because Mikey's kicking out the girls in the band, but he keeps doing it. I watched it a couple times.
Oh.
I think Fredo is high.
You think Fredo's coked out?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me too. That whole Vegas scene, right?
Oh, yeah, especially for Fredo, yeah.
So check it out. I don't know if there's any way to know if he was doing that, if John Cazale was doing that deliberately.
No, nothing in the book about it?
No, nothing at all. So I have a few more things, Alex.
Sure. What you got for me?
You asked me to remind you of something you missed from minute 140, but you didn't tell me what it was. You just asked me to remind you of that.
Okay, yeah.
Or do you want to save that for the end of the minute? Do you have anything else for 142?
I do. Let me look at my notes. Oh yeah, Tom Hagen. Right before the minute ends and Mikey is talking to Johnny, you see Mikey and Johnny are right in the foreground. And if you look way, way, way in the background, you can see an out of focus Tom Hagen, like looking at them, like, you know what I mean? Like observing them. Mm-hmm. And, I took it as a kind of, contrast, because the last time we saw Johnny Fontaine was when Tom Hagen was doing all the, we went out to Hollywood, talked to Waltz. So Tom was very much involved in, Johnny's plans and stuff. But now he's now he's out. He's as far away and out of focus as possible during the, he's not, he's just like a distant blurry figure. So,
excellent.
Poor Tom. He's out.
Yeah. Great observation. That's really cool.
So that is the last thing I had to say.
Great. Tom calls across the room. No, Mikey, it's important that you have that second clause moved earlier in the contract.
Everyone else in the room is all talking. He's trying to yell over the.
He's kind of talking to himself. No, he's talking to Al. He says, if I was conciliary, I'd move that clause earlier in the contract, Al.
I might not do it now, but I would do it 10 years from now.
Tom keeps annoying people at the party. Eventually, Mike says, Al, would you get him a drink?
So that's all I have for minute 142.
Let's see. Fredo moving his lips. Party started. Mo Green. Yeah, that's all I got. So do you remember what you were wanting to go back to with 140?
I do remember. I was, we record these minutes, and then when we're putting them up on the internet, I'll take an image from the minute and so on. And when I was watching minute 140 again to pick an image for the minute, I watched the scene. So that's the scene where Tessio and Clemenza want to form their own families. And you gotta trust Michael. You gotta trust my judgment. Let's do whatever Michael tells you. Mm-hmm. Then they'll leave, and we pointed out that when Fish leaves, when Tessio leaves,
he holds Mikey's hand.
Yeah. He grudgingly shakes his hand with his left hand and then leaves. And I didn't notice this, but when he leaves, he just walks right by Don Corleone and doesn't stop or anything. Like when Clemenza leaves, he shakes the Don's hand and is like, thank you, Godfather, all that stuff. But Tessio just storms right past him. So they really are setting. You can really see that he's the one who's gonna flip, because he's already in that scene. You can see he's already pissed off about it. So,
wow, very cool.
So yeah, I thought that was neat.
Wow, that's great. That's not a very smart move.
No,
because
it is perfect though.
Someone as sharp as Don Corleone would pick up on that.
Yeah.
Do you think Don Corleone felt slighted?
Well, you see Don kind of watch him walk past. Mm-hmm. The Don was kind of like, what the Mm-hmm. So you think then the Don would have said, listen, keep an eye on Tessio. He seems pissed off about this thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe the Don was fooled. He had been saying that it was Barzini all along.
Yeah. You mean Tattaglia.
Tattaglia's a pimp.
So what should we rate this minute?
Tattaglia's a pimp and Tessio's a fish. Don't worry about them. Rate it. Oh man.
It's tough because there's not a lot of dialogue in this minute. Mm-hmm. It's mostly just saying get rid of the girls and the Fredo yelling for everyone to leave the room and Scram and then he's
what we didn't talk about is the girls do start getting up and leaving, but Fredo is so impatient. Come on, Scram. I thought they were responding to his first directive to leave.
Well, I think
why do you think he really got on him?
I think he's just frustrated and embarrassed that Mikey just totally knocked the knees out from his party. So he's just
Mm-hmm.
So
Fredo could have saved face there, because I don't think anyone else heard Mikey say get rid of him. If I were Fredo, I would have swallowed my pride, turned around and said, all right, folks, thanks for coming. We got to take care of some business, so move on down to the casino. Maybe we'll reconvene this later. Thank y'all. Angelo, good job on the piano. Mo, good job on the banging the keys.
Angelo.
And then if they didn't go, I said Scram.
Yeah, well, I guess,
right?
Yeah, you're right. If he was a cooler character, he could have played that off. It's like, Mikey and I have some business to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. Even better. Include him in it.
But I think there's some lingering resentment on Fredo's part. I think he's kind of angry that Mikey is now the boss.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't even, when he's in Fredo's turf, he doesn't respect Fredo, even when he's in Fredo's home turf of the casino.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that might be the first time Fredo's just not only is he embarrassed that the party got dumped, but that now everyone's like, oh boy, Fredo must be an idiot if they they couldn't trust Fredo to take over the family business, he must be stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He's the whole time, it wasn't just canceling the party that offended Fredo. This whole time he's probably been stewing.
Yeah.
That he's been stepped over. So the little bit of control turf that he has is he gets embarrassed in front of his people too.
Do you think once the news got out that Sonny had been shot on the causeway, that Fredo was like, oh shit, I'm going to be the Don of the family?
Probably.
Or when they told him, were they like, listen, we're bringing Michael. Listen, the bad news is Sonny got shot. The good news is we're bringing Michael back to take over the family. It's like for like 1 second he had the hope that he would get to, that he would get to be the Don.
And did he protest? What was that like?
So,
That's a good question. I haven't found anything. I haven't found that scene in the book or any reference to it.
I wonder.
Yeah. So I got my rating, Alex.
All right.
You ready?
I think I'll do my rating. I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't hear. Did you say 5 too?
I said 4.
Oh, 4.
I'm cheering because he gave it a 5. I could have gone 5, but I held back just a little bit.
I was on the fence, and then I thought of Fredo saying "Scram," and I was like, "That alone is worth thinking." That's the equivalent of Marlon Brando showing up.
You're right.
Saying "Scram."
Do you think that's in the top 10 Godfather lines, at least for us?
Top 10? No.
Okay. We'll have to make a top 10 list.
I mean, first of all, every line of dialogue that Hyman Roth says, and every line that Frankie Five Angels says, that's like 15 lines right there. That's yeah. Maybe at the end of this movie, we'll list the best just from this movie. We'll count down the best, our favorite lines.
Maybe that can be a special toward the end too. We can have several sort of big picture evaluations of GF1. We could say, hey, what are the top 10 dialogues, top 10 moments, or greatest moment?
I like this.
Greatest letdown. We could do kind of highlights.
Yeah, for children.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that'll wrap up minute 142.
Couple cleanup things, Alex. Wanted to share with our listeners. If our listeners, our dear listeners, if you ever wonder why the title of the episode doesn't match anything we talked about in the episode, it's probably because it's likely something we talked about in the bonus content, which is really where Alex and I let loose.
We let our hair down.
Yeah. Alex, how do people access the bonus content?
If they go to godfatherminute.com/support, that'll take you to our Patreon page, and you can sign up and get at least, what is it usually, anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes of bonus content.
That's right.
So really is all over the map there.
And Alex, in case you forgot, we added a new rotating item. This is a great one. Last time we talked about the Dear Mo advice column.
Yeah.
And we talked about how every bonus content we're going to do for a character that was there, an advice column from that character.
Really? I don't remember any of that.
It was just an idea. We don't have to do it. So in this episode, for example, we could have a Dear Fredo. Dear Fredo, I'm running a nightclub out in just outside of Sparks, Nevada. What tips do you have for running this?
Also, is this
Sincerely, Mickey Mouse? And then and then you or I would answer it in Fredo's character.
Oh, okay. So we're making up the questions and the answers. It's not like people are sending in.
We do want the listeners to start emailing questions in.
All right. godfatherminute@gmail.com. Send them in. We'll and just say who you want to answer the question and then your question.
Perfect. There you go.
It's perfect. All right. So we'll be back next week with minute 143. And until then, scram!